Happy Friday, Miami. This is Buy, Sell, Hold Miami, a real estate podcast by locals with no nonsense telling you what's going on in the real estate market. I'm Peter Zalewski. I'm a condo consultant, expert witness, founder of the Miami Condo Investing Club. I'm joined here by my co-host, the moderator, Daniel Hernandez. He is a real estate advisor over at Compass Real Estate, where he does single-family houses and condos. His office is in Coconut Grove. What's going on, Mr. Hernandez?
Yes, we are in Coconut Grove. Coconut Grove is hot, 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 hot. Can't even touch the ground. But this is Buy, Sell, Hold Miami. Happy Friday. We are well into March. The year is just flying by. Q1's going to
56 days till winter buying season's over. 56 days away from May the 1st.
Wild. Peter, how's it looking? Are your tours packed?
Yeah, I'm getting good crowds. I'm still doing it every Saturday, but we're in our final circuit. I got 9 tours left of the winter buying season. Then we'll be taking them touch and go along the way. So we'll have to see. But Daniel, I got to tell you, I'm upset.
Why?
They are changing the time. I hate daylight savings time.
This is happening this Saturday.
I hate. I am a night person. I learned that when I was a journalist. Always, you put the paper to bed, as they say, so it get printed in the morning. They'd print them up, then they have people distributing them or at 6 a.m. I'm a night person. When they do this, they absolutely kill me. So I hate this. President Trump, you promised to roll that back. Why can't you deliver on that? That was the only thing I wanted from you.
But we'll get into the hour. If you're just joining us for the first time today, Hold Miami. South Florida Real Estate Podcast. Peter and I are professionals. This is what we do every day, except for Friday afternoons where we sit down and we talk to you. So if you look at the bottom left of your screen, you see the rundown are some topics that, we throw back and forth throughout the week. And on Fridays, we solidify them. We talk about them. You watch or listen. Maybe you're watching live. If you're watching live, you might catch some mishaps. But at the end of each topic, we either buy, because we agree, we sell because we disagree, or we hold because we don't know. But jumping right into it, Peter, we're gonna go up Miami Avenue, up into Little River, El Portal, Miami Shores. They put that food hall there, the Citadel, nice little tiny village. What's the population of El Portal? 10,000, maybe.
Maybe.
So of WeWork fame, if you ever watched CNBC I think they made like about him, but Adam Newman, WeWork, he has evolved into his career, and now he is a real estate developer. Listeners might live in one of his properties. It's called Flow, Peter, and it's kind of like they market it as where you can live if you can afford it after college, and you kind of just want this little community. They got a high rise there in Brickell or West Brickell, depending on where you draw that line of defense. And of recently, about a year ago, he purchased 16 acres right there in El Portal. It was a trailer park. He bought it for $71.5 million. And per my little research here, he is entitled, and this is exclusive of Live Local, 150 units an acre. So if you do the quick math, it's about 24 homes that he can put by right in this little area, formerly a trailer park. Now, he's in the news this week because west of there, he owns a Methodist church. And why he do that? So his wife, who is an educator, she wants to build a school. And they're within this church and build a school. It's a civic institution. It's all within the zoning. What they did, though, and with the community on, which developers tend to do this, they preempt any of the hearings, any of the civil discourse, and they started demolishing the church this week, 4 days before there was supposed to be a public hearing about it. And so the community is all up in arms. And when I talk about little tight-knit community, the El Portal folks make the Grovites look YIMBY. So now, such in bad faith, Peter, because when you look at what they can do, they're going to do it. But why not and have the conversation and be, a member of the community, especially when you're going to go in and build all of these units here, much in this area. Like, why do it this way, Peter?
Well, I think it's simple. He was probably afraid of the opposition. They did that before, Daniel, recently. What is it, 22nd Avenue Southwest and 8th Street? There was a church there. They were supposed to have a hearing about some sort of permit and designating the church as historically significant. Before the hearing began, they knocked that church down as well. Listen,
Like,
gunslingers. Yeah, developers are gunslingers. They're going in there. They don't care about anybody. It is live or die every single project that they do. And this guy's coming from a Silicon Valley relationship where he was raising capital with this. Now, get this, for this very innovative idea about leasing out a bunch of office space and then subletting it and giving you free booze or beer, I should say, wine, maybe some lunch and a pool table or something, and suddenly and incorporating software. So that was a cutting edge business in which he became a billionaire on it. His investors, not so much. So now he's reincarnated. He's come here. He's a gunslinger as a developer. And I would tell you, he's bought 2 existing projects. He's converting into condominiums, taking them from rentals into condos. And this is his first real attempt to roll up the sleeves and put the shovels in the ground and try to build. And he's bringing Silicon Valley VC approach to the real estate market here in South Florida. So stay tuned, and I am going to get myself some of that popcorn you're always talking about, because I don't think this is going to end well. So it might be karma.
He's moving dirt, though. You know who else is moving dirt? And I got to point him out because he's earned it. Ken's moving stuff. It's gonna, apparently, I'm being told through the grapevine that it's in the planet.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's see. You know who else moved dirt during the Great Recession? A company that put up a project called the St. Regis. Took them about 4 to 5 years to build it, but they wanted to move some dirt. So yeah, kudos to Ken Griffin. I hope you go forward. I hope you build the whole damn thing. The question I have is, why would you go with a Tampa general contractor, according to your
keep on coming back to the Tampa general contractors?
Dude, to build in this market, if you've never built before, I don't care how much money you have. If you don't know the rules of engagement, it never ends well, i.e. Adam Newman. Watch that one. That one's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
But, and here's the thing. I mean, when you think about talking about the church, which he wants to turn into a school, by the way, love the fact that he is building a school. The method of the process that he's going through to get it done, maybe not awesome. But when you go into that little trailer park development, or what was the dilapidated trailer park, it was called Little Farms, and sorry if you lived there, but yeah, it was dilapidated. And so Peter, you know what that's right next to? Because I drove by it the other day. Remember the INS?
Big Daddy's.
No, the
Big Daddy's.
Yeah, there's a... Okay, of course you're gonna know the Big Daddies, but remember the Naturalization Services building that got totally gutted, and there was fraud, and then who bought that? The multifamily guys, B Group bought that, and they're going to be multifamily. Maybe they but that there on, what is that, about 80 something in Biscayne? I mean, with if they go and choose to do multifamily there, and Adam Newman, little master plan community of 2,400 some odd units there, that whole area just north of that waterway, they're completely, if he breaks ground.
Yeah, I wish him the best of luck. There's nothing better than a newbie parachuting in who's never built elsewhere. He took a business concept of
didn't even build in New York. He's not a developer.
Subletting it and jumping into the most sophisticated condo market, I would argue, in the country. What could possibly go wrong? You think you got cash, but let me tell you, the cash doesn't mean everything, because you got to get it over the finish line. Daniel, let me give you a perfect example. Okay, so I was looking around the market. I was checking out Little Havana. So there's a developer over here who's putting up townhouses. Okay, he's got 6 townhouses going. 4 of them are super luxury, about 1.7 a door. And he's got another 2, and he decided to get creative. And you know what he's doing, Daniel, in Little Havana? He's got underground parking.
In Miami, underground parking?
In Little Havana. Maybe maybe that was a great idea where he came from, which is New York, but putting underground parking here, what could possibly go wrong? And that's what I'm telling you. If it is a first time developer, they don't know the rules of engagement here. And it doesn't end well. It doesn't matter if they come from New York, like Gary Barnett. Who built from New York. He came down here. He did 1050, 1060. Disaster. Mr. Faina, he came here. He put up one project. He went home. Now he's hawking condos on the river, north bank of the Miami River. What could possibly go wrong on your first go at it? The best thing you can do is JV with somebody who knows the rules of engagement. Once you get some sea legs, then you go forward and build.
You could say he did that with the Shatreat project, right?
Yeah, but the Shatreat, it was already put up.
But no, but there was a portion of it that's still very much under construction, no?
No, the whole project, he bought it. No, I don't know if he acquired the additional land. I think there was 4 towers planned there. If anybody wants to know what we're talking about, right up against I-95, just east on 7th, between 7th and the river. Yeah, there used to be a little bar there. It's called like Finnegan's or something. So
Finnegan's on the river, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
right. It's right here.
Yep, yeah. So I think it's 4 towers. And Shatreat unloaded it to Adam Newman. They also, another group unloaded a project, a rental that he converted into condos right there in the Miami World Center area, right by the Apple store. So he's got 2 conversions. 2 conversions, and this will be the first one with an actual shovel in the ground. It's one thing to be able to go out there and raise capital. It's another thing to actually execute. Remember how I was beating up on Squire Properties? Because they had the big picture guy, and then they had somebody come in and basically unload everything, and now they put a placeholder in place for Squire Properties. They at least had a measured approach. These are gunslingers parachuting in, telling you, we know better than you do. We're going to show you how it's done, and we got enough money in order to get through it. That's what I love to see. That's what makes this town so exciting. So, Daniel, I hope you got some extra popcorn, because I'm going to want to share with you on that popcorn while we watch this.
Buy, sell, hold on School of Hard Feelings in El Portal.
Hard feelings. I'm a buy. The future of the project, I would be a sell.
I'm a hold. I'm still eating my popcorn. The one that you put the cheese sauce on. The cheese.
Make sprinkles. Sure you share it. You better share it, because I'm sure there's other people watch this show. They're gonna want some of that popcorn too, because this is gonna get fun.
All right. Well, we're still in Little River. Well, technically El Portal is in Little River, but if you go down this way, and I'm going to go on the map, let's spin a little bit. We're going to go into Little River. And if you just arrived here and you didn't really grow up here, you might not really know what Little River is. Well, Little River is a pocket just north of Little Haiti. And you see this here? Well, there you go. It's Little River. And you see Miami from El Portal. And then you go into Miami Shores all the way until you get up to Barry University right up here. What is that, like 106? So down here in Little River, this has become like the workforce housing mecca. So you have Schwartz spending literally billions of dollars to build thousands of units. And then the folks that we're talking about today are putting up a project called Hub. It's led by a gentleman by the name of Pablo. And so Pablo Castro got all of his local county approvals back in August, so back then. But now happening, they're expecting imminent. This is for 4,000 units. And for anybody that doesn't really understand the scale, it's like I just said 2,400 units in Adam Newman's project that's over here. That's this little corner here. That's the Big Daddy's liquor store that Peter pointed. 4,000 units. Here, plus Swerdlow's 1,000, talking about 11,000 units. Yes, Peter, that's a lot of dog poop. But in this area, and it is very much density on this lot that building on, it only has 41 apartment units. So 20x, 30x, 40x almost the amount obviously there. And so when I look at things, live local or not, and this is going to be a live local development, I say kudos to you, he likes to say, because you're housing with infill. You're not going to push the UDB. You're not doing anything outside of where anyone wants to live. You are right here on I-95. People can commute in and out of Brickell and cheap enough and well enough that it's allowed. And will he be successful in this? I don't know. The margins on these things are probably pretty tight because it's workforce. Hell yeah, man.
I love it. Kudos. I can be positive. No, I love the idea. Plus, it's not very far from the North Campus. It's not far from the North Campus of Miami-Dade College. If the county commission would actually listen to Mayor Levine Cava and extend the Metro Rail all the way up to Hard Rock Stadium, this would be absolutely ideal. You could jump on a train. You'd have something that was reasonable. There's plenty of developable dirt. It doesn't flood as much as you're going to find in other places. No, I love it. I think this is fantastic. I think it offers a lot of opportunity. My only question is, when you do live local, a certain percentage has got to earmark for, let's call it reasonably priced, because there's workforce, affordable, rather than confuse everybody, reasonably priced rentals.
Attainable. I think they're using attainable.
Are they going to turn those into condos? Are they attainable? Okay, so attainable. So I'm wondering what they're going to do with that. What I also wonder too is this a land banking play? Is this a play where maybe you buy the dirt, you get it entitled, you get it all locked and loaded, and then you either JV it or you dump the dirt in parcels, much like Alex Medea did over at Midtown Miami when the market went to hell, and he bought all of the developable land in and around Midtown Miami. He then parceled them off one at a time, and he banked on it. So my only question is this gentleman, this developer who I don't know, is he going to go forward and do what he says, or is it more so a grand plan and then he'll work and figure it out? Either he sells off dirt or he turns around and he JVs, joint ventures with people who maybe put their own cash in. So that's the part. But overall, big picture, thumbs up.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like he intends to build. I mean, they announced a contractor. I think the Real Deal or South Florida. They filed in public records. They have a contractor.
Are they from Tampa?
No, I don't know where they're from.
They're from Tampa.
Let me tell you now.
Just make it sure.
No. Contractor on it is I don't know. I don't know. But they're doing it. He bought it for $23 million in 2023, so they got their entitlements and everything. Talk about timing.
You said 4,000 units?
4,035-story towers, Peter.
But so 23 million for 4,000 units.
That's right.
Wait. Let's repeat that. 23 million, 4,000 units.
40%. Can you remember? At least.
That's like 50.
Actually, I know Live Local component has the 40% threshold to it, but I want to say that he intended to have 100% so he could get the full tax abatement. Which, hey, if the economic and he can workforce attainable unit for the first time. So workforce housing, as defined by Live Local, is anywhere from 80% to 120% of AMI. And what's AMI? It's average median income. And it depends whether you're single or if you're married and you have kids. And so Miami-Dade County publishes these. And so these are the numbers. These are the real numbers here. So if you're one person, 100% of the median income is $86,800. That means that if you make up to $104,000, you are eligible for one of these units. If you're a family of four, the number gets bumped up to $148,000, which, but I remember, when I started my career, if you made $100,000, you were banking, man. And so that just goes to show how expensive this county, the cities have gotten here in South Florida. And, people got to live somewhere. So I applaud Castro for putting his money where his mouth is and actually putting a shovel in the ground. He hasn't put the shovel yet. He's about to. And Swerdlow is moving along with their 10,000 plus workforce housing units in the relative urban. Yeah, love it.
Yeah, well, you know what else I love? You said 23 million. This is the fourth time I'm saying it because I'm shocked. 23 million for 4,000 units. That's the correct number.
Seems like it.
Okay, so let's just ballpark this. 23 million, fifth time I'm saying it because I'm shocked. 23 million, so everybody at home can play this game, and we'll all want you to pull out your phone or a calculator. Take the 23 million. I want you to divide it by the 4,000. And this is going to be your land cost. Your land cost is $5,800 a unit. Land costs
It's a
$5,800
good
a
deal.
unit. You got
Good
guys
deal.
dropping. Oh my. Well, if you go with some basic math where 10% of your development costs can be earmarked towards land, it's going to cost them 60 grand a door. How are you going to go wrong on 60 grand a door? Home run. 100%. This is probably a 10 bagger. Kudos to you. This developer, pound the table, flip that damn thing over. This guy's going to be a home run. And Adam Newman, when you're doing your project and you run it, you get jammed up, give this guy a call. He'll tell you how it works.
So you're buying this.
At $5,800 a door, 100%. I mean, you got people paying more than that in rent per month at Edwin's properties.
Yeah, but I mean he's got to get the construction loan. He's got the construction loan, but estimated $880 million to pull it off.
He doesn't have to do anything. They're going to come to him. They have people who are going to want to park money with him because he's getting the entitlements, because he's got locked and loaded, because his cost basis, his initial investment is so cheap. The guy's done. He's a made man. He's done. Crown him.
I'm going to buy with you because you're so enthusiastic about it. If you actually pencil, then hey, the number. You know where the numbers don't pencil, Peter? I'm a hotel guy. I just like to eat in restaurants. I do residential stuff primarily. But when I see the news stories come out, and you sent me one yesterday, Bar Nancy closing. I know it hasn't been around for 100 years. It opened in 2017, but great bar. Locale, which is too expensive for your taste, Peter, but I like it. My wife likes it. It's got the best veggie burger in town. But Locale is there on Commodore, right there in Coconut Grove. I mean, can a burger place really survive on Commodore right now? And then you talk about Gramps for 6 months because Gramps is long gone because it's become Winwoodified. So, folks, small, medium businesses, and I know Locale is a bigger part of a larger restaurant group that's Cush Hospitality, but still in the grand scheme of things, a small business, and they can't hang. They can't pay $20 a foot for a burger and beer joint. And the market has decided that the highest and best use for retail or mixed use is not a burger and beer place. And so that strip there, you know what strip I'm talking about, and I can pull it up on the big screen for the kids. The strip I'm talking about, Peter, is down here right by Green Street. Right? In the heart of Coconut. This is everything here, right? So we got Coconut Grove. You're right here, right? That's where Locale is, right there. And so this whole strip here, do you remember a gentleman who I believe was just arrested this week or maybe even today? Kapoor? Rishi. Yeah, this is where...
I interviewed him for a podcast.
You interviewed him for a podcast. Was Francis on that podcast?
No. Former mayor of Miami was on a podcast. This was before anything broke. This was during the pandemic with his whole business model. Yeah, Rishi Kapoor, who had this concept of building a whole series of these like projects. Call them Airbnbs, where you basically join a club and you could pop around the world in major cities and have a place to stay. Kind of like a timeshare concept, but modernized Airbnb, combination of all that. So yeah. I saw that. Rishi Kapoor gets arrested. I think a lot of people would say, what took so long? Based on all the news reports.
What was it, like a $93 million fraud, allegedly?
Allegedly, yeah. So two sides to every story, and how it goes. But the one part which is kind of interesting about Rishi is, I guess this all went bad because he had a CFO, and I'm going off.
Who he didn't pay. It was a payment dispute, right?
Yeah, I think it was an issue, and I'm speculating here where after Sarbanes-Oxley was put into place, after Enron and all the shenanigans that came out of 2000 with the dot-com bubble, the feds put in place a rule when somebody signs their name, now they're liable. So the way the story was told to me, and you do your own research, basically this accountant didn't want to sign. This CFO wanted his cash so he could just piss off and call it a day, and he wasn't paid, and therefore he whistle blew. And one thing leads to another, and here we are with the announcement, according to the Miami Herald.
So this strip here, and the reason why we're talking about Rishi owned this, right? He owned these big buildings to put up this multifamily, and he had hired the family while he was mayor as a business, and it was a whole boondoggle. But locale, which is the Little Burger and Beer place, and in this low-rise building here, and then you got this residential neighborhood. Peter, there's a house. You see that 3,200 there on there, Thomas? That sold like $900K, and they built a house and over $3 million. Grove is not little, maybe at its core culturally that still stands, but the prices are just astronomical. I mean, 5 blocks away from here, we dropped $100 and something million for multiple properties, and so that's locality. Let's come and fly back over here. Street Bar Nancy's up here in Little Havana, La Pequeña Habana, as they say. Bar Nancy.
Right.
Do you know the story behind that? Because I didn't go there probably until like 21, and it had already been open for 4 or 5 years. It's great. Like developing there, and maybe the landlord wants to get the place cleaned out and entitled so that they can dump it, but value to that neighborhood, work something with the tenant, build something, and put them back. What's the inside baseball on that, Peter?
Bar Nancy, so what's interesting, if anybody doesn't realize this, if you are in that circle of alcoholics, what you do is, much like if you're a groupie for a musician, if you're an alcoholic, you follow bartenders. So wherever follow them, because they tend to bring other good people around, and it makes for very interesting times. So Bar Nancy, it actually came about after a bunch of key bartenders at a place called Sugarcane in Midtown Miami. Their management, and because these bartenders had such a following, I would say they were the Beatles. Back in the day, there was no place to go in Midtown area. The greater downtown Miami was struggling. We had the Great Recession, and this little bar carved out a niche, and it was called Sugarcane. It's now since passed. It's moved on. They have one in Vegas, but they shut it down in Midtown. But this group of bartenders was the best of the best. And what happened is the management didn't like the fact that everybody was going there to drink and hang out at the bartenders more so than the other stuff. There could have been some other issues, and they blew everybody out. So each of these bartenders went elsewhere. One of them went to a place in the Gables called I think it's a Copper Club. Another one became a distributor for a whiskey. And one of the bartenders, a woman called Katie, she went and she was involved with the setting up of Bar Nancy, simply because they got shown the door and they said, you know what, we can do it our way. And they basically incorporated all of that, and they had it rocking and rolling. So they were able to bring over a lot of the crowd of Sugarcane, I would argue, which is one of the reasons Sugarcane ultimately met its demise, because of bad decision making. But Bar Nancy was standing there. It was steadfast. Former Commissioner Joe Carollo, he had an issue with a guy called William Fuller. William Fuller, from my understanding, was involved with the ownership. Yeah, involved with the ownership of the property, and as a result, there would be some fire marshal raids, if you will, on busy nights, and that led to all kinds of other things. There was a back courtyard area, terrace in Bar Nancy, and at this time when Commissioner Carollo was sigging inspection on them, they jammed them up on the backyard. They hit them with all kinds of stuff. So basically, it was a pissing match, and Bar Nancy, they got beat up along the way. And why they closed now, I don't know. But this is a major, major, major blow for Little Havana. Little Havana still got a lot of its character, but increasingly it's moving towards the, I'd say the foo-foo, I'd say the bougie type of movement. It's not
bougie in Little Havana.
Well, you're seeing it. You got the Thai restaurant, which went right up there on 17th and Cayocho or 8th Street.
Yeah, Lung Young Thai Tapa.
Yeah, so you sit down, you get to order once. If you don't order, you got to get back in line and come back and wait your turn and sit down again. Everything is.
But you can go grab a beer on the bar and drink on the sidewalk while you wait for your table. It's not an awful environment.
Yeah, but it's not a bar. Bar Nancy at a time had $3 beers. You'd go in there, you could talk shit. You would meet investment bankers.
Should we go right now? Homeless. After the show?
No, they're gone. They're gone. So
wait, it's already gone?
It's gone. Safeway.
One day to the next?
You got the sandwich place right there. They're charging $16 for a Cuban sandwich. I used to pick them up for $5-6. Uber Eats killed that because they brought price discovery and everybody knew what it was, so they changed it. So what I'm saying is the whole area is sort of changing. And right across from Bar Nancy, where that church is, Daniel, I referred to when it was coming up, there was some kind of hearing, and they went and they started knocking that damn church down before they could actually have the hearing. And by the way, the founder of Kai's company, that's the church he used to go to. I did a podcast this week. They're celebrating 100-year anniversary. They're the longest running brokerage in the state of Florida. They started the month after the peak of the 1920s Florida land boom. So a lot of history all in and around her, but unfortunately Bar Nancy's gone. I hope they come back. I haven't heard what's going to happen. But as for locale, they were too expensive for my taste. That's more of the bougie crowd than me. I'm a $3 a beer guy.
I like the locale burger. Go on, Peter. Go treat yourself before they close. All right, Peter. Buy, sell, hold on local haunts can't hang.
I would have to be a buy because I think we're going the way of Vegas. The big story about Vegas is
No,
everybody's getting priced out. They're going after the fat
it's
cats, the
unfortunate.
bougies. Yeah, and I think we're headed that way. But remember, the pendulum always swings. So stand firm, everybody. Stand firm.
Yeah, but I mean the market. What do they say? The market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. That's probably even more truer. For what are they going to do? Just wait for the pendulum to swing back. Go become a librarian and
$100 oil. That could be the pendulum. That's all I got to say. That's
don't
foreshadowing.
don't spoil the next topics, Peter. All right, local haunts can't hang. Peter's a buy. I'm a buy. Peter, everybody's been waiting for it because it's been the elephant fest. It's a small office, no elephant in here. But Peter, Dubai is a dud. So for our fellow watchers, fans, mom, hi. Peter, a few months back, I was reading about this legislation. Do they call it legislation in the UK? Whatever they call it, new tax scheme that was happening in the UK. That there was going to be capital flight and all this. You know what? I'm going to go see it for myself. So I signed up for one of these conferences. I went out to London, to jolly old England. Went drinking in the middle of the day because that's what you do there, I guess, in a pub. And then I went to this conference, talking to everybody, trying to understand where they intend to take their money. So these are confidants of ultra high net worth individuals. Some ultra high net worth were represented there themselves, and trying to understand where they were taking their money and why. And hey, could Miami be a candidate for this capital flight? And it was so frustrating to me that every conversation I had was, oh, well, Dubai, obviously. Dubai this, Dubai that. And I would ask why. And the sales argument was, if I got to be honest, it's pretty compelling. They got the 5-year golden with a capital threshold of it's an AED, which is about $500,000 USD. And I mean, that's pretty compelling versus a visa program like $1 million, $1,500,000, and that doesn't even come with a condo to live in. So then you got to buy the condo on top of that, and they have all of these sort of what do they call them? Not golden visa, but gold star programs where they help you set up your business, and they just very frictionless for these folks to set up their lives there. In light of everything that has happened in the past few days, so Reuters came out and said, Reuters, that's how you pronounce it. And I agree with what they're saying, that Dubai status is being put to a test. Interesting.
Oh, no, it failed a test. There's
Failed
no
the
test.
test.
Test is over. It failed the test. No, Dubai is off the table. I don't think there's any question Dubai is off the table right now. I mean, the way it was always seen, at least going way back in the day, way it was seen is you had these emerging markets that were pan-regional where you could basically pop in. Maybe in your home country you couldn't do what you would do maybe when you got to these places. Think about somebody up in north. They come down here for the week during the winter, and they're doing all kinds of stuff they shouldn't be doing. And then when they go back home, everything is fine. Makes me think of a weatherman out of Cincinnati who used to be on TV. He came down here for a conference, got a couple too many shots with a few women from Eastern Europe who were drinking water, took him over to a place, got hit with a $20,000 bar tab, refused to pay it, ended up getting arrested, led to an FBI sting for something they called the Russian bar girl model, that type of concept. So Dubai, Singapore, or as they say, Singapore, and Miami, these were the destinations that were pan-regional. You could basically leave your home country. You come up here. It's almost like you were behind, you were in a foreign land when you're on the hotel. All the rules that applied elsewhere, they didn't apply on the hotel sites, almost like an embassy. And Dubai was a natural place for a few reasons. One, it was former British. So the British still have a big involvement there. The amount of Emiratis, memory serves me correct, I've been to Dubai a bunch of times. It's like 5%. Number of expats from the West.
Right, it's
like
all
5%.
expats. And it's the same thing in Qatar and all these places. They don't become citizens.
Yeah.
You just become like a forever resident.
A forever resident, and then 75% of the people are coming from Bangladesh, India, and Pakistan, and they're doing all the construction. And they're nonstop construction, air conditioning, bus stops, a mosque every certain distance. I mean, just blowing up. It was the place for a lot of the big money, especially a lot of the Russian money, especially with the special operations. I don't think we can say war, right? The invasion of Ukraine. But because of the special operations, a number of Russians went in there, and the place was humming. A bunch of Brits, a bunch of Russians. Great time, good stuff. It's done. It's over. If you could basically have an investment and it can get hit by something like this, if the airport can get shut down the way it did, you no longer have predictability. And what's the one thing that business wants?
Uncertainty.
Predictability.
Oh, they don't want uncertainty. Yeah.
Uncertainty kills it. So now, what does that mean? You pretty much only got Miami. Unless some guy in a mask jumps out of a van, grabs you, and throws you in alligator Alcatraz, you pretty much only got Miami or you got Singapore, and that's pretty much it. Because these are
Singapore's even hotter than here. People complain about the humidity here. Good luck over there.
Well, the thing about Singapore though is they have cameras everywhere. Everywhere you go, there's a camera.
There's cameras everywhere. I got a camera right here.
No. I'm saying government cameras. So you might think about committing a crime.
I got a government camera right here.
Well, that's true. But this stuff is posted everywhere. I stayed with somebody in Singapore, and so it was a woman. She wanted to go for a jog at like 12 o'clock at night. She's like, you want to go with? I wasn't jogging. I was walking. I'm a walker, not a jogger. And she says she jogs every night on her own, maybe weighs 110 pounds or so, and feels fine. Why? Cameras everywhere. The place is so secure. The place is a combination of Aventura and Sunny Isles in terms of the look, the feel, but absolutely pristine. So there's these destinations, and Dubai has now been taken off the list. I don't know how you come back from that. They built safety, they built cushion, they built insulation.
People have very short-term memories, Peter. I mean, if you were stuck on a cruise in COVID, it turned into like a floating sewer or like an even worse version of a floating sewer. Nobody would accept them. Now you got double-digit growth annually forever and ever and ever on cruises. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I would love fishery.
You could be,
but
what if we get a redevelopment of Gaza?
Yeah. Listen, you're not wrong. For what it's worth, guys, Miami is kind of already set up to be a plan B to Dubai. I mean, the capital preservation economics here, they work, right? So the Miami Realtors does that international buyer survey. Jottle off some notes here. So you got 51% of international purchasers, 71% were bought for vacation, rental, or both, and 63% were in the central city urban areas. I mean, look at the entire central business district. 4,300 new units delivering in the next, year and a half in downtown? I mean, we for expat cash. And now the expats have one less place to go to, safely at least.
Well, and Daniel, to play off the earlier reference to Rishi Kapoor, the gentleman who just got arrested, according to the Miami Herald, that was his concept, was to build these complexes in key cities around the world so you could jet set. You could jet set from Miami to other places. And this is how it was all going to work. So, no, I think you're reading it dead on. I think Dubai has taken a major hit. And if Royal British-based, if they're publishing that story and a lot of Dubai is all British because of what used to happen previously, dude, it's a major hit.
I mean, just think about it, plain and simple. How many people were moving to Dubai from the UK on Thursday last week? How many people were putting their kids in school in Dubai because they got a new expat package and Johnson & Johnson or one of these multinational companies said, hey, here's your promotion. You just got to go live in Dubai. I mean, that was happening every day. So now those individuals and those companies, because now those companies, like, how could they possibly ask to go live in a place when you got missiles and drones flying overhead? So there has to be a recalibration, and where are they going to recalibrate to? Granted, Miami isn't in that region. If it's a business thing, maybe Miami isn't a good choice. But if we're talking about capital flight, well, capital can go anywhere.
It it can go anywhere. You're 100% correct. Miami is so well positioned. It's typically a Chamber of Commerce talking point. But I think at this point, because again, there were the three: Singapore, Dubai, and Miami. And you can't even say Riyadh. You can't even say Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has been trying to diversify, much like Dubai. They got hit too. So it's suddenly, if you just add this other element of danger that's involved there. Besides, a lot of the Dubai condos they used to burn. They're actually people moving in while they're still constructing them, and they weren't using the best materials.
Yeah,
If you
I
on
think you told
YouTube,
me that.
yeah, you would see them catching on fire because of the materials and yada yada yada. I mean, Dubai is a spectacular place if you're in the developed areas. Once you go a little bit far out, there is
It's no
nothing, nothing,
desert.
nothing, nothing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's definitely like I was gonna say a Vegas, a holier Vegas.
A holier Vegas. Yeah, but Dubai, I mean, they might have the religious fanatics on the foundation of it, but they really did on that to show themselves as this sort of progressive city of the future. Come bring all your money here, and they made it very so. Now,
But
you know,
but what I would tell you though, what I would tell you is somebody's been to a lot of these places. So in terms of as a Westerner, maybe somebody from let's say Miami. Miami's not a typical Westerner, but if somebody coming from Miami, there is no question. The only place I would go is Dubai. If you go to Abu Dhabi, which is a much bigger emirate, remember it's the United Arab Emirates, so it's a bunch of emirates put
right, the one
together.
with the oil.
Abu Dhabi, yeah, Abu Dhabi's like going to a place where they don't sell booze, no liquor. It's all religious. It's boring as can be. And then you say, well, let's go to Doha, which is where Qatar is. They got nothing to do there. There's they spend money, but it's all about shopping. Everybody goes to the mall. That's why they got like
Well,
a
because it's so
ski
freaking
slope at
hot,
the mall.
they spend all the days in the mall because you can't be outside.
But the transition from Miami to Dubai, it's pretty simple transition. Other than the
No
fact that you
tipping
can't hold
culture.
hands with and no tipping culture, and you can get gold. You get gold everywhere. They got a gold market, which is just insane, and the food is spectacular. So yeah, no, Dubai was positioned for Westerners. There's no question. I don't know how you'd park your money there if there might be a missile at any moment in time flying through. Personally,
So Dubai's a dud. I'm buying it.
yeah, I would be unfortunately I would be a buy as well.
Well, since we're talking oil, you know, the stuff that they refine so you can put gas in your car. Since we're in America, nobody drives EVs here. So oil creates a slippery slope. Peter, you're old enough to give me a history lesson. Why does it create a slippery slope? What last time oil exploded in price per barrel? What was the result? What was the fallout? I know it was right around the time they called it the housing crisis.
The housing crisis. So generally speaking, oil. I'm not an economist. I've seen it. I've followed it. This is the one indicator. This is the light, the flicker. This is the spark, the catalyst that always blows up the market. And it typically happens once the oil gets north of $100 a barrel. Back in the 2008 Great Recession, Daniel, what it hit 147 a barrel.
147 in June. Oh wait, and then
Okay,
it
so it hit
collapsed to 30
147.
something by December.
Yeah, everything is involved with oil. It doesn't matter if you're flying on vacation. It doesn't matter if you are delivering your Amazon package. It doesn't matter if you're taking your leftovers and putting it in plastic. There's petroleum all in and around everything. And as the price goes up, it really kind of cramps into people's profit margins and their ability to do things, their ability to drive, their ability to buy a car, their ability to do anything. Their job, did they still have the job because of oil? Oil is just sort of everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. So it's always something to watch. In the United States, from what I've read and seen, basically the break-even point on oil is somewhere in, I think it begins with a 5 or a 6 handle. Like if you're doing it out in the Permian, parts of the United States. If you're doing West
Right, where they're doing all
Texas,
the fracking because the engineering gets really complicated.
correct. But then you go to a place like Saudi Arabia, and basically it's like Jed Clampett in the Beverly Hillbillies. If you ever seen that,
You just put
somebody
the
puts a
thing in
shovel
the
in the ground.
ground. Right.
Yeah, and I think in Saudi Arabia it's 25, $30, whatever the case may be. But so the thing is, everything is based on it. What has President Trump talked about in terms of affordability? Keeps going on and on about affordability, which I don't know if we're seeing it or not, but he keeps talking about how gas prices, because he realizes if oil goes bad, so goes the economy, so goes the job, so goes everything. And what we have now, because of the attack by United States and Israel on Iran. Not that Iran throws off that much oil because they're not necessarily, they're not the Saudi Arabia, if you will. But what happens is because of their geographical location with the Straits of Hormuz, basically they're stopping tankers, which represent 15 to 20 to 25% of all the oil.
That much? No kidding.
It's all going through there. So a gentleman in Qatar, where they do a lot of natural gas, it's just north of Dubai and right across from Iran, and they tend to lean towards Iran, although the U.S. military's got a naval base there. They said we might have to shut it all down because of what's going on with blowing up tankers and the costs and things like that. So oil right now ended the week north of $90 a barrel. Previously, it was in the 60s, a 6 handle. We went to a 9 handle. We're talking almost a 50% increase. I was listening to an interview with a professor from the University of Pennsylvania, the Wharton School of Business, a guy called Jeremy Siegel on CNBC before we got on here. He says if they don't get something worked out over the weekend, oil's going north of 100. Once you get north of 100, this is kind of like if you got a fever. If you have a fever, your kid has a fever, your significant other, now you got to start worrying. So there's a certain tipping point. I was asking AI, what is the tipping point as to where everything's just going to blow up and it'll trigger all kinds of stuff? The infamous black swan. What does it occur? AI saying about 130 a barrel or so. But right now we are in a danger zone that this could trigger all kinds of other things we're not expecting. And then once the tension-based line sort of snaps, you don't know where it's going to hit. You don't know what's going to happen. And that's why it's so important. And oh, by the way, have you seen mortgage rates? We've had 3 federal funds rate cuts. And where are mortgage rates? They're up.
What's 6.1 now? 6.1.
Yes.
We were just below 6 last week, right?
And then on Friday, we were 5.99 on a 30-year fix. Saturday, they launched the attack, and now we've added. So it brings inflation when oil goes up. It brings a slowdown. You saw the employment rate. We just missed. Now that was even before the oil.
What did we lose in the jobs report? 92,000 jobs.
Yeah, jobs report underperformed. They were expecting growth and they lost. Unemployment rate ticked up. Inflation is ticking up. This is, from a geopolitical security of the United States, this is great. From an economic perspective, this is a very interesting time we're in right now. So everybody pay attention to oil. If you want to know what it means, every time oil goes up, Daniel, remember we were talking about, we were asking AI?
Yeah, oil goes up, inflation goes up. But what was it in terms of you did the calculation for a gallon of gas, right? 25 cents or something?
Yeah, so what I did is I asked AI if I paid $3 a gallon in Miami, how much was a barrel of oil? And they said $65. And every $10 over $65, you're adding 25 cents a gallon. So it started at 65, we went to 75, that's a quarter. We went to 85, that's another quarter. We hit 95, that's 75 cents.
So if it goes up, if it gets to 140, it's $2.
Yes.
So if we get to 140, we got to 147. You can see a $2 increase on a gallon of gas. That's what the calculation says.
Now, don't just think about yourself. Think about Amazon. Think about FedEx. Think about Emirates Airline. Think about American Airline. What is that going to do to travel? Daniel, international passenger traffic through Miami International Airport in 2025 was down 1.25%. It was down 314,000 in planes.
Yeah, but people weren't flying over here from the UAE.
But what I'm saying is, do not look past this. Oil and credit is always what triggers everything going to shit.
Well, so let me get this right, Peter. So, and I'm making a pretty general statement. So, guys, don't bite my freaking
Yeah,
head
I'm
off.
talking
But, this is a real estate show.
Yeah, we're talking
So,
themes.
so oil goes up, inflation goes up, inflation bad. The only lever the Fed really has is interest rates. If inflation goes up, they won't lower interest rates. If interest rates don't come down, the housing market continues to be frozen. And square one is
Yeah, you're hitting it. And now you throw in what we call the Florida Condo Association financial cliff. Increased costs living in a condo because of legislation and requirements put into place as a result of the Surfside condo collapse back in June of 2021. So if you're trying to get out and people aren't able to afford to get in, maybe they lose their job. Maybe less people take an Uber, for instance, and you're driving an Uber on the side because the gas is too expensive. This is how it all factors in. Maybe those Ziploc bags you're buying for leftovers, maybe they go up. Oil is
plastics.
everywhere, but oil's key to plastics.
So look, I went and I pulled the numbers from that Miami Realtor survey. Take it with the side, right? Peter's going to tell me to say that. So what we're talking, Middle East money isn't flooding into Miami, guys, but we are built to absorb that. Look, we got what are Colombia, Argentina, Mexico, Brazil, Venezuela. I guess if you can make it here, Canada always. I don't even think the UAE even broached the named list. It was always like other buyers, right? Like the sub 1%. Now, when they do this survey again, I would hypothesize that number might come up. And certainly the number from the UK, because they won't be going to the UAE.
And that was one of the easy parts. If you were coming from the UK to get the UAE, it was relatively simple. It was a short flight. It was a shorter flight than maybe coming to the Miami area. It's not that much of a difference. It's probably comparable. But it was simple. Instead of going to Spain, you could go to Spain is much quicker if you're coming from the UK. But basically, when you were looking for a destination, Dubai became the place, except during Ramadan because everything would shut down. But other than that, it was like very simple. You if you're going to Asia, Southeast Asia, East Asia, you could go through Dubai. You have a little layover. They have a subway. As soon as you get out of the airport, you get on the subway. You take it to different districts where they have all the expats and stuff like that. It really is it's a fantastic place. But if there's missiles flying through,
less so.
So Miami is for the first time, in my opinion, well positioned. And this is not Chamber of Commerce talk like we always hear from the brokers who are talking out of both sides of their mouth. The sell side people who put out these ridiculous reports. This time, I think we might actually have the benefit, as long as we can get rid of those guys who wearing those masks with that pop-up detention center in the middle of the swamp called.
It's going to wind up costing Florida taxpayers like $600 million in money from the federal government, by the way. Shocker.
I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked.
We had a comment there, by the way. Rico said that might be cheap enough for Peter. I'm paraphrasing, but it was somewhere along the lines of that. Folks, well, we got to do buy, sell, hold on oil creates. I'm a buy on that.
Yeah, I'm a pound the table buy. Watch it, got 100. Watch it. I'm telling you, watch.
Peter, I think this might be the first time in a long time where you agreed with your rundown. You're feeling good, dude. Even though Bar Nancy's closed, you're feeling good.
This is my glory days before they change the clocks back. Once they change the clocks back, it's going to be horrible for me. So I'm going to have 6 months of misery.
All right, folks. Listen, that's Buy, Sell, Hold Miami, episode number 44. It's March. Hope you did your taxes. Maybe you still got to do them. God knows I still do. Okay, we'll be in the middle of March. It's not quite St. Patty's Day. Maybe we got a guest coming on. Maybe we don't. You're stuck with us too. But in any event, have a great weekend. Be dry. Go on a walk with Peter. He's doing this tomorrow. And if you're not, sleep in and enjoy yourselves. Have a great one, folks.